Passion our purpose, profit our pain. I don't want my name to ever be in vain. A life full of substance is the only thing that will remain the same. Millennial Thoughts. Welcome back to another episode of Millennial Thoughts with your girl, Alicia. I am here with another special guest for my relocation series, and it's my girl, Sheridan. Hey, girl.
Hello, hello.
I am so excited to chat with you about relocation. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Um,
excited. Thanks for having me.
yes, you're welcome. Thanks for joining. So, background, we went to college together, and we actually met like the first day.
We really
So
did. In the
yeah.
elevator.
So I've been rocking with my girl since about 2013, period. Okay. We graduated, we got master's degree, and we out here in new cities, okay, trying to live the life. Okay, period.
For
So thank you so much for being a part of this. And we're gonna get into it a little bit, okay? So I want to know, where did you move to from where?
Absolutely. So I moved to Columbia, South Carolina, from Louisville, Kentucky back in June. So June 27th to be exact. So I've been here nearly, well, shoot, today is the 3rd of December. So yeah, like 5 months exactly. 5 months and a few days.
5 months. Okay, yeah. So this one is real fresh, real fresh. Okay.
Very much so.
So I want to ask, why did you move? And then why did you move to Columbia?
Yeah, so it was just time for a transition. I always said that I would give Kentucky at least 4 years after graduation. And if I didn't feel like I was growing or if I was stagnant, um, it was time to take that next step. And so I just kind of felt it at the beginning of this year, like, it may be time to move on. And I always knew I wanted to come down south. Columbia specifically is just one of the areas, kind of a highlight of my childhood. My aunt lives here, and she's from Kentucky, so she married my uncle, and we would come down here for vacations as I was a child, and I always loved it. I never wanted to go home. They always told me how awesome it was, and they even tried to get my mom to move down. And so when she extended the invitation, it's like, hey, if you're still considering relocating, you can come stay with me for a little bit so you can get adjusted to the city. And I was like, absolutely. So I took her up on her offer, and I never looked back.
Period. Okay, I love that. So some of the
Yeah.
episodes we talk like strong relationships with family and not so strong. So of course this probably was a strong relationship because that was your aunt.
Hmm.
So let's talk about a little bit about that transition. So how long did you stay with her? Like was it like a requirement, or was you can only be here for da 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 and then you gotta leave? Or like how was that process?
Well, originally we had discussed like 3 months should be good. 3 months for me to, save up a little more, and then also just to kind of get adjusted to the city, have the time to go out and see just what Columbia has to offer. Unfortunately, it was longer than that. It took 5 months just because the area or the residence that I'm in now, they did not have any openings, and so by the time June, no, it wasn't June, it was September 30th got around, it was like, oh shoot, I have to say, an extra 2 months, but it was no biggie at all. Went by super fast. So yeah, it was a lot longer than expected, very challenging because, coming from my own environment, being able to control what goes on and then having to live with someone was such a huge transition, and not just one person but multiple people, and then dogs being in the house too, so it was
Ooh,
definitely
dogs. I would have been like, I'm out. I gotta
not that
find my somewhere to
I
stay.
mean, not that they were bad or anything, but it was different for me because I wasn't used to that. It was always just, I'm used to myself. And so
Hmm.
it was definitely a huge transition, but it was a learning experience. And I loved it because it really allowed me to build up a strong relationship and connection with my aunt. So I really did enjoy that as well. And my cousins as well. So it
Yeah,
was
let's
definitely
dive a little
worthwhile.
bit deeper into that because I wanted to ask about that too. Like, you was like living on your own. You was like, okay, I'm doing me, I'm doing that, and now to go into living with somebody. I don't want to get like too much into your financial, but like, was your aunt like, oh my gosh, like you have to pay me, you have to give me this money, or was it kind of just like you were able to like give money, you had it, Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was never anything as far as like she was expecting anything. Like she was super set on like I don't want you to give me anything. Pretty much is what she would say, because the purpose is for you to save this so you can do what you need to do.
mhm,
But of course, me being me, I sometimes like my pride getting away. I'm like, I don't want to feel like a freeloader, if you will. So I would, give her money at some point, but then she was like, don't give me, don't give me nothing else.
okay, she
Like,
might say
okay.
that so you can get out of here. I'm just playing.
Right. Right. But no, it was all love. And, I appreciate her so very much. One of the most selfless individuals that I know. So if it wasn't for her, I don't think that I would have been here, of course, the help of the Lord, but, just her
Mhm,
being that support for me
mhm,
and, not making it very comfortable for me
mhm,
was great. It was, really kept me in a place where my anxiety was not, through the roof. Of course, I had my stressful moments. But
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I like that too, that support, because within the transition, like, support is really needed, and it's kind of so hard to find support. So
Mhm,
honestly, like, shout out to your aunt giving her flowers, because like it is really truly a transition, and the fact that like you say when you tried to move out, like, oh, that place isn't ready for me, like, and then what do you do? So it's like being able to stay there and not having like such a hard deadline to have to move. That's really really great.
mhm,
And I also think another thing that we haven't talked about, but we're going to hand on, is that you also had a job that you could work remotely. So we didn't talk about job because I know that you
mhm.
had a job. So being able to transition with the remote job could kind of be more um, easier, less stressful, because you already had a job going into it. So it's like really when you moved, all you had to focus on was like trying to find a new place to live.
Right, yeah.
So how did that go with like talking to your job? Because I knew how you said like y'all went in and like before the pandemic and everything changed from the pandemic. How was that conversation, or thinking about telling your boss like, hey, I'm about to move? Or like did you think like you had to tell your boss that you were about to move even though like you were working remotely?
I would say, as far as my management on my job, they are very, I respect them. I have the utmost respect for them. They have been nothing but a pleasure to work for since I've started with the company. And that level of trust I have with them, I was comfortable with letting them know, hey, I'm going to be making this transition. But I told them several months in advance. I mean, I moved in June. I want to say it was maybe April when I put it into my manager's ear. And she's like, okay, that's totally fine. Just kind of keep us up to date as that deadline gets closer. And of course, she had conversations with our leadership, and then they were like, absolutely, because they didn't, not to toot my own horn, but they didn't want to, I guess, not say fire me, but see me leave because I couldn't continue to work for the company because of relocating. So,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a plethora of team members who are working in various areas that are not near a headquarters office. So that was even more of a plus for me to be in a permanent remote position. So
Yes, so I feel like that's good. So now that you're in a permanent role position, you can move wherever you want. And I was talking in my other episode about like making sure when you do move to another place with being remote, it's like making sure you watch those time zones and stuff like that. So I know like
yeah,
you said you
that's
moved from
big.
Kentucky
Mhm.
to South Carolina. That's like, okay, boom, I'm in the same time zone. It's not like you moved to California where you would be doing like 3 hours ahead of work or something like that. So did that come into play like when you wanted to move, or were you just set on Columbia? Or was you like, I need to go somewhere that I have the same time?
And it's crazy because now that you asked that, I really didn't I didn't even really think about that. Just because, I don't know. I guess I didn't really have any, especially with my job. Some of my clients are on the West Coast, so it was like I didn't really have to worry about that. And then we have some coworkers that are also like in Denver. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it really wasn't an issue for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I thought about this transition. So, but that's a
Okay,
good
okay,
call
that's
out
good.
though.
You said what?
But I mean, that's a good call out though, because
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes people don't put that into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about everything that I do is virtual. It's like, who wants to be up before 6 a.m. talking to people, or even
Okay.
after, you know, end of the day is usually what, 4:30, 5 o'clock Eastern
Mm-hmm.
Standard. but it's like what, 3 more hours, so you're talking about maybe 8 o'clock. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't know if the reason why you moved was because like you're like, I want to move to Columbia, or you was just like, I want to get out of Louisville. You see what I'm saying? That's what I was asking.
oh, gotcha. Sorry, I
Hmm.
interpreted that. But yeah,
Oh yeah, no, you're fine.
I knew that I wanted to move down south for sure. And so prior to, like, because mind you, I had started my research in January. Like, I can open up my OneNote on my laptop
Hmm.
and I can show you notes from when I started my research in January. Because
Okay.
it was like during that month, I was like, okay, I'm dead set taking this serious. But prior to that, I didn't know, months back into like later 2021. I knew I wanted to move, but I didn't quite know where exactly. But I knew I wanted to be down south. Um,
Okay.
and then that's when my aunt extended the invitation. I was like, oh, well, this would be perfect. You know,
Mm.
family, like, you
Hmm.
thinking about Columbia, like it's growing. I'm like an
Hmm.
hour from Charlotte. I'm like 2 hours from Atlanta. I'm 2 hours from the
She hasn't
beach.
came to
Like,
visit me, but it's okay though.
oh, okay. I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
Girl, I'm just playing.
But yeah, it's like a hot spot. And so I was like, oh, that's perfect. And if something happens, I have family, my mom doesn't have to stress about it because I'm her only child and I'm here alone. So
Mhm.
everything kind of like worked out thinking about those very important things. It just made sense.
Okay, yeah, and so that brings me to my next question. I was going to say, did you have a hard deadline on when you wanted to move?
Yeah, yes and no, because my lease was up, I think
Mm.
July 18th was when I had to be out. So I was like, I definitely wanted to be out before then. Otherwise, I would have had to deal with all of the, paying, extending for what, 3 months. I think that's what they typically do. And I was like, I
Mhm.
don't want to do that. I'd rather just go ahead, get down there before, and then get adjusted as soon as possible. So,
Yes, that's good because I also talk about that too. It's like sometimes it's your job. The last episode she had to move because she had a job. This episode is like, okay, my lease is up, so I got to get up on out here, get on through.
mm-hmm.
And I know we talked a little bit about relocating and the prices and stuff like that. I don't know if you know or if you remember, but do you have like a ballpark, like budget and stuff like how much you spent relocating?
Ooh, that's a good question. How much I spent relocating, just in general for like everything, the
Yeah,
apartment.
like
I
well,
would
we could
say,
talk about apartment later, but like maybe like the U-Haul. I guess apartment could be included because you kind of moved in with your aunt or whatever, so you can think of gas and everything else.
well, I would say as far as like moving here, like the physical putting the like U-Haul and driving it, I didn't have to pay anything.
Okay, period.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
but,
We thank
but
him.
I mean, there was still, expenses as far as like, paying people to help me move, like pack my stuff up into the
Hmm.
U-Haul. And then of course just necessities needed for the apartment,
Hmm.
still need necessities and things of that nature,
Okay.
but it wasn't like an excessive amount. I would say if anything, ballpark for the apartment alone, maybe 2,000. But I mean,
Hmm.
I think it just depends upon the person, preference. Now I will say this: bring everything that you have. Don't throw anything away because you just never know. Now, luckily for me, I did purchase a lot of new things, but I know some people, they'll throw, like, maybe it's a kitchen table or maybe it's their couch or wash and dryer. They'll give it away and they're like, okay, well, I'll have all of that by the time I get down there. Mm-mm. Because you never know. You're
So,
better
what all did you
bringing
bring?
all. Oh, I brought everything
Period.
except for
Everything in your
the
house.
kitchen table. I mean, the kitchen table, because I knew that it was older, outdated, and I didn't want it. So it's on back order, so I don't have one right now. But anyway,
Okay.
but things like that. I mean, if you had the room in your U-Haul, just bring everything. But of course, like if you already have that stuff at your destination and it's already set in stone, when it's getting delivered, then you're good. But if you know that it's going to be like several weeks or a month or several months before you can even get like a couch and stuff to prevent you from sitting on the floor, bring all your stuff.
Okay, that's a
What
good
you do?
perspective. I like
I
that because you tell.
with me because you know.
So you put all your stuff in the U-Haul and then you had to put it in storage, right?
Yes.
How much was storage? I guess we could factor in that. How much was storage like every month?
75, and that was like, oh,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, it's like the 8 by 10. So, and I don't have a lot of stuff. I mean, it's just, well, actually, I do, but you know, it all fit. I
Okay.
fit. So yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, that's good. So I like that. So you did storage. You didn't have to pay for no U-Haul. Look at God,
Mhm.
and then you had to pay for your apartment. So that's good. It's also thinking about using your resources. I like that. I don't really want to call her a resource, but like having your aunt being able to help you, cousins, like using your resources for when you want to move, and that's also
Mhm.
a good idea because some people be wanting to move to places that they don't have no family and stuff like that. But like it's also cool to be like, okay, no, I'm going to move to this place that I have family. You said that you like went there when you was younger and stuff like that, so you liked it. Did you go back in between like young adult or not really?
As far as like a young adult, no.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I feel like the last visit prior to moving here was 2020. But
Okay.
it was for like certain events, like 4th of July, or maybe it was like
Mhm.
graduation. Um, but prior to that, I was a child, so I didn't
Okay.
have the opportunity as like a young adult, like being able to actually explore the city, things of that nature. I didn't get to do that prior to moving
Mhm.
here.
Okay, because I was gonna just ask, like, do you feel like you wish you would have did a scouting trip? Like, I know it's kind of early, but I'm like,
Hmm.
do you feel like you still like it? Like, how are you feeling now about the city?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I love it. And now that I'm actually settled into my own place now, and I have more of that motivation to like really get out and not be afraid to do things alone and network and things of that nature. And
Mhm.
that's actually one of the tips that I was going to propose is if you have the ability to come down prior to do that. You know, come visit.
Mhm.
See what the surroundings are, see what it's giving. You know, visit some of the residences
Come
and
and
you
get
know just
this.
see what, right, you know, see if you see yourself thriving and growing in that area. So you know,
Mhm.
some people may come in person and it's like, no, I don't, it's not giving what it should have gave.
Mhm.
But for me, having that experience coming down as a child for so many different years, um I love it. So
Yeah, I understand. So I know that you are kind of new, because you only been there. You said like 5 months or something like that. So,
mhm.
how has it been? Like, do you feel like it's worth it? Like, I know that you're probably still like trying to find community and build community, but like, how has it been within these 5 months? I know that we talked about like loneliness and stuff like that. So, of course, you was with your aunt and stuff like now, but now that you live by yourself, like getting the new apartment, like, do you feel like you are lonely now? Do you feel like you want to go somewhere for the holidays, or do you feel like you're pretty much adjusting and you've adjusted to like your new city?
I think that I'm actually really adjusting very well now that I have my own place. Kind of going back to our, we were talking about how used to having my own, and so
Mhm.
struggle for me, because contrary to belief, like I felt, even though I was in my aunt's house, I felt very lonely, and that was
Mhm.
because it's like I didn't have. I just felt like, okay, I need my own space. I need to get back into, you know, Sheridan needs to get back into her own groove, into her own peaceful environment. And so when I knew that I would be back into that setting, that's when it was like, okay, that motivation to do more, to get out, to explore, to build up that community, go to different events, you know, even I guess go on, get back to doing my solocations and my staycations. Like
Mhm.
that's actually one of my goals for,
Okay, that's when you get money. So
yeah.
locations,
But
period.
so
Because I can't afford a solo location. So y'all
so
listen
I
to my
would say
podcast.
like, yeah. So I would say like that's where I'm at right now. Like I don't, of course I have my moments of loneliness, but I
Mhm.
have so much peace in it because I'm where I prayed for. So
Mhm.
like I'm finally here. It's been a long 5 months. I'm in my own place. I can walk around freely, do my own thing, go and come as I please.
Mhm.
I'm learning to be peaceful and grateful for that, those lonely moments, because you,
Mhm.
I feel that that's when you really learn the most about yourself. and it's okay.
So do
So,
you feel like, oh, what were you gonna say?
oh no, no, go you go ahead.
Okay, now felt lonely in the house. So do you feel like it was just like a security? It's like you felt lonely because you feel like you couldn't get out, or like do you feel like because it was like so much going on in the house, like there's families, you said their dogs, which I've been gone, but like because your cousin, like you, it was so to just like talk to your cousin, talk to your aunt, go out with them and stuff like that, but you felt lonely because you felt like you couldn't be able to do what you do. Is that kind of the feeling?
I guess maybe not even just so more so lonely, but just my anxiety was getting bad. My that
Mm-hmm.
and I would say a little just a little bit of depression was setting in because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just I'm not myself. I wasn't myself because, I was just I felt boxed in. Um,
Mm. Okay, shout out to Regina
so-
Carter.
huh?
I said shout out to Regina Carter.
I don't do that. I indulge you. So yeah, I just kind of felt boxed in and yeah, and it was just really hard in that headspace. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, like
Mhm.
I'm just, in this room. And I mean, of course, I had the
In
option. I
this
shared
room,
the whole
yes.
house with everyone, but it was just like it was just too much for me, and I was just ready to get to my own surrounding,
Mhm.
like environment where I had that peace,
Mhm.
as I had alluded to earlier. So yeah.
Mhm. So yeah, let's talk about the new apartment. So you said that you brought everything with you. So you've been in the new apartment the beginning of this month or like last month? Like how long you
So
been in this
the
apartment?
21st. So I actually moved
Uh,
in the 21st of this month.
oh, okay, okay.
So
Um,
almost 2 weeks.
okay, okay. How does it feel? You have all your furniture. You said something was on back order. Was at the table.
Yes, so I'm
Okay.
still doing that. For the most part, organizing is done. I just need to decorate,
Mhm.
do some decorating. But yeah, like I love it. Great. This side of town that's considered Northeast Columbia.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
very nice, very quiet. Not too much goes on out here. So I think I definitely picked a perfect spot. And it fits me. It fits me. So
Mhm.
it's pretty spacious as well. So I
Oh,
love
that's good. That's what I was about to ask you too, because I was about to say, getting into the apartments, like coming from Louisville and then going to Columbia, like, do you feel like how do you feel apartments are like the spaces like and to money? And then like do you feel like it's more affordable? Do you feel like it's more affordable in Louisville? What do you
it.
think?
Now, from my prior residence in Louisville, it was less than what it is here. But I will say, overall, from what I've seen, I mean, of course, you have the areas where it's like luxury apartment homes and things of that nature. You are going to pay a little bit more. But similar to where I stayed at back in Kentucky, I mean, it's about the same, if not a little bit lower. But
Mhm.
it's really not that expensive to live here. Most of the people that I've talked to that have family from here are familiar with Columbia, but are in Louisville. They always say, yeah, it's cheaper in Columbia. And even my aunt and family, it's they always say it's cheaper. This lady I know back from Louisville, who I went to church with, she was like, yeah, it's definitely more cheaper in Columbia. So
Oh,
yeah.
for real?
Mhm.
Don't let me. Okay, about to move
Not
out there.
that bad. And I mean, I feel like it's worth it. So yeah, I think that it's worth it as far as like, what you get.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I heard South Carolina was kind of one of the affordable states, kind of. So I always thought about looking at it, but who child, I just don't know. So we gonna see um, about it because I ain't never really been to South Carolina. So who child, I'm scared. But
Not scared.
yeah, I don't know. But so seeing that you're in a whole nother state, okay. How do you feel about holidays? Do you feel like you're gonna go back home? Do you feel like you're gonna want your family to come visit you? How do you feel like you're going to do holidays now?
Well, I actually did Thanksgiving here, and I really enjoyed it because it was the first time that I can remember since I was a child being able to have Thanksgiving with my family here. Um,
Mm.
so, I mean, when I say years ago, and so it was very refreshing, and I loved it. My cousin, she actually lives in Greenville now, and she hosted, and so we just went
Mm.
down there, and we had
How far away is that?
Greenville is about an hour and 40-ish minutes. It's not a bad drive.
Okay, because that's
Yeah.
what somebody told me to check out. Actually, I thought about moving to Greenville.
Yeah, Greenville is very, very nice, and they're up and coming as well.
Yeah, I need
Very
to be up and coming cities.
um, so yeah, it was really great. Now I will say for Christmas, it's usually just like me and my mom. Um,
Hmm.
so if anything, she's supposed to be coming here.
Okay.
We will see. But other than that, not sure if I'll be going home. Just because I know that it's just been a lot of transition these last few months, and I'm just like, I feel like I've been doing too much, and I just want to sit down. So
Hmm.
we'll
And
see.
costs can get a lot like when you're traveling for Thanksgiving,
Yes,
traveling for Christmas, and it's
yes.
right back to back. So that's another thing too. And like you just got an apartment, like you got to get your apartment together. So I think it's just like a life of transition and stuff like that. So that's why I was asking because, boy, I went back home 2 times. I said, "Whoo, child, I need help with the flight." My dad was like, "Oh, you got money?" I don't have money. That's why I'm asking for help. Having to go back. I just flew. I just went to Destin for Thanksgiving. Now I'm
Oh
going to
yeah, I seen
so.
that. Girls on the beach with her legs out.
Yes, okay, girl. It was cold, though. That's why I had to get up out. Okay.
Sure.
But yeah, and so it's like just traveling that can be expensive, but
Hmm.
when you go home you ain't got to buy that hotel, so
Okay.
that's good. Okay, got
Room
to think about
board
that.
and
Yeah,
food.
yeah, so that kind of can get expensive as well too. So yeah, I really like that idea. Do you feel like, I don't know, in the next year or so, like, do you feel like you'll be able to get settled? Because I know you're talking about get out and go, different things like that, and like building community. Do you feel like it will take you like a year, or do you feel like you've already kind of like started building community now, so it's like you feel like you'll be good?
I would say at least like a few months. Now I would
Hmm.
a year for me to like learn all of Columbia, know where this is at, that's at. So about a year to learn everything, but I would say at least the next few months or so to like really start building up that community because I'm like I said I'm like really kind of breaking out of my shell. Um,
Hmm.
I'm afraid to go alone. I'm big on taking myself out to brunch, to dinner, and you just never know who you will run into. And then also, one of my biggest things was once I did get into my own place, was to start going to a lot of the different events that are hosted, whether it's in this city or surrounding cities, to network and build that network and things of that nature. So definitely look forward to doing that. So I would say at least 6 months or so to really start building that community for sure.
So what do you hope to gain out of moving to Columbia?
Well, not only just the growth, but also to be able to network with individuals that have just like-minded individuals. I do have aspirations as far as entrepreneurship, which I really
Hmm.
want that deep into. So really being able to build those connections and establish that with individuals. And one thing I will say, and I mean, I don't want to say there's not Black excellence in Kentucky because there is, but seeing that down here is just it's a different
Hmm.
ball game, if you will.
Oh, let's talk about it though, because I feel like there's a lot of Black excellence in Louisville. So let me, what
I
Columbia
mean,
got going on?
saying that there's not, but I'm saying where I'm from.
Oh,
Let me
oh,
read
okay,
let
okay.
me read
Oh, Hodgenville, hoocha.
let me back that up. So where I'm from, I didn't grow up seeing that. And so
Mm-hmm.
here it's like, okay. And I mean, like you said, there it is in Louisville as well, but just being able to like see all the different um just seeing people thrive down here, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
business or, media, entertainment, all the
So
black.
is that big in Columbia? Like, there's a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
Black people in Columbia.
there's absolutely. But I'm just saying in general, and then just in the South in general. So it's very inspiring to me. Um, and then also knowing like, that my family down here is connected with folks as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that also kind of gives me more of an influence as far as building up that sense of community and networking and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, because people try to give Louisville a bad rep. So
And
I be
Louisville's
like,
not.
what?
I say
But
hopefully that didn't come off the wrong way because not have a bad. It's
No,
just
but because I think Louisville is good for businesses, and I feel like, well, compared to me, because I live in Atlanta, I feel like Louisville is more of a community, and being from in such a big city like Atlanta is not
like
as much
tight
as a
knit,
community. Hmm.
like
Yeah,
real tight
I
knit.
feel like,
Everyone kind of knows
yeah,
everyone.
from the people. I do. I feel like you kind of know people. I feel like people have the same events and businesses. Like you see people that you know when you go places. Just to me, what I see on Facebook, I can see it like, okay, people going to homecoming. Okay, people going to this event. They going to the same restaurants, stuff like that. Like I feel like it's more of a community in Louisville because it's so much smaller. But I've never been to Columbia, so I can't compare it to that. But I'm like, I feel like Louisville kind of gets a bad, and like, I know they're not really that popping in media, but I feel like entrepreneurship is good. I feel like community involvement is good, and a lot of the Divine Nine organizations and stuff like that. So that's why I would guess I was trying to figure out, like, when you were comparing it, like, what do you see in Columbia? Like, do you see a lot of Black people with businesses? Do you see a lot of events going on? Like, what what is it in Columbia from the Black experience that you see?
Well, I will say I haven't technically been able to really soak up that experience because, like I
Mhm.
said, with me just transitioning to my own place, that's something that I look to do, even going into this next month, is to really get out and network. Now, of course, I've done research on what is it, Eventbrite, looking at
Mhm.
different things. So those that I will say I haven't had the chance, but it was more so, hearing from different people, whether it was my cousins or my aunt or, different seeing things on social media like, oh, this is going on, that's going on. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah,
Oh, okay, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. So you're excited for your new city.
absolutely.
Yes, I hope it treats you well. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I just have a couple of questions, to wrap it up. But what do you think is the most important factor when it comes to moving?
I say you definitely need to have a game plan. And not just have, a game plan in order as far as, this is how everything's going to map out. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, but you need to have some type of plan in place and consider your overall livelihood. Don't just think about, the job opportunities or, oh, there's maybe it's just I don't know, maybe you just think about like the entertainment, or you're just thinking about, oh, it's a big city, so there's a lot, bright lights, things of that nature. You have to think about, is it going to fit every single area of your life, whether it's spiritual, mental, emotional, financial. Like, do you see yourself truly growing in that area? And if so, like, take that leap of faith, like, go for it. um that's probably the most important factor that I would say, one should consider when it comes to moving.
Okay, okay. And I know earlier you were talking about you were like sharing some advice about relocating, but do you have
Mhm.
any other tips that you would suggest, any advice that you would give to people who are thinking about relocating, and quite frankly to your situation, because like you do have the remote job, you were able to move with your family, so I kind of feel like your story is kind of unique and different. Do you feel like you would do it the same way again? Do you feel like you would change it, or like you like how you kind of transitioned?
That's a good question. I actually like how it went because I'm the firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and that you have to trust where you're at in that moment. And I
Mhm.
feel like it would not have worked out how it did if I tried to rush it and move sooner.
Oh, you
Um,
was ready to leave Louisville.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm saying like sooner in the like, because at one point I did want to like leave before June and then just pay
Mm,
that the rest of that rent. But then I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna rush it. I'm just gonna just take my time with this because it was new for me. First time I've ever like really moved away. Um,
mhm.
so yeah, I would definitely say, yeah. But as far as like tips and everything, I know that we kind of touched on that already, but I'm not sure if I'd already mentioned this, but like do research. If you don't have friends or family that's in the area, do your research on like, what areas are safe, Especially when you're trying to consider your future residences and things of that nature. And if you do have family and friends in that area, lean on them to be like tour guides. They can be, um, resources for, safe areas, social spots, eateries. And one thing that I noted back in January when I started my research was have several options as far as like where you want to stay. Don't just pick two or three places, at least have six. When I tell you I had a list of different
Like
places.
cities? Are you talking about like
Oh, no, I'm talking
apartments?
about like residences.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So just because you never know, you may run into the issue like I did where you may have to wait several months until you can get into that place. But, there may be another place you really like that you picked, and that wait may not be as long. So, definitely keep your options open,
Mm-hmm.
um, and have that list there. And then if you can try to come ahead of time. I know that was one thing that you had asked, like scouting the area ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
travel, see
Mm-hmm.
what it is. So yeah.
So did you have any resources that you use specifically? I know you were talking about having different residencies. Like, what did you look on to find your different resident spots?
Google.com.
Okay.
That is
So did you just
Google.com.
look up like
I just,
apartments?
absolutely. When I tell you, I had, oh my gosh, I had like at least 15 different tabs open at one point because
Mm-hmm.
I was just, I didn't realize how hard it was looking for an apartment. I was like, my last apartment in Louisville, it was not this hard. It was more,
Yeah.
I think I may have like chose that within 24 hours. But then this, I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, it was just crazy how many places I had. And like all the places that I had in January, like completely went out the door. Because
That's what I was about to ask too.
got ready
You
by the time I got ready to like really like narrow down and like get into, okay, I have like a month or so until I need to solidify this and sign the papers and apply. Like the list was completely different. It was complexes that that I just randomly found.
hmm Did
So
you put into factor of like, oh my goodness, like I have to show my pay stubs, or like I have to pay a deposit and first month rent and stuff like that? Was you thinking about all that? Like, did you have a budget or an expense tracker or anything?
yeah, so I did think about that. Like the down payment. Like, well, here I didn't have to really do a down payment. It was more just the security deposit. But yeah, I did definitely factor that in. I didn't really use a prior to. I didn't use a oh goodness, like a finance tracker or budget.
Mm-hmm.
But what I actually found that I will start using, well, I am starting this month, is it's called a 50/30/20.
Yeah, like the budget thing, like I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Um,
I
and
can't
it's
do
like
percentages.
I just actually wrote it out in OneNote. As you
Hmm
so OneNote's my friend. Um,
Okay,
so like I
sponsor her.
right. So I have like all of my wants, my needs, and then credits and things like that. So that that's how I will be keeping track, especially since like I know that my rent expense is a little more than what it was. I know
hmm
for sure in order to really make sure like what kind of cushion I have,
hmm
stick to that budget with at least within the first 3 months of being here. So that way I know, okay, I don't have as much flexibility, or wait, I do. I don't have to be that
hmm
tight with the wants and things like that.
Yeah. So you don't have to tell me how much your rent is, but I think you live in like a one bedroom. Could you give me like a range about like how much the one bedrooms are in your area?
In this area, I would, trying to think average because there's quite a few complexes just within this area. Average between
hmm
12 and 13.
Between 12 and
Well,
1300.
actually, there are some that are 15. So maybe I'll take that up. Yeah, there are some that are like 15.
Mm-mm. That's crazy. 12 to $1,500. I'm about to be at my parents' house. Like I don't even know how y'all do it out here. But okay, 12 to 1,500. So if you're looking into Colombia, 12 to 1,500. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of good to know because I feel like people don't really talk about costs or different things like that. And then that's really just the base rent. Like that is literally the base rent. Nothing included. Well, some apartments have it.
Mhm.
Oh, does your apartment come with washer and dryer?
It did.
That's good. That's good. Okay, because they don't be trying to do that out here in the Atlanta street. So I just was wondering. It don't. Is it a luxury? Is it gated?
Is this is not gated,
Mhm.
but it is, I guess, considered luxury, and it's like a better side of town. So,
Mhm.
but I mean, it to be completely honest and fair, anything can happen anywhere. So they do recommend
Mhm.
keep stuff in your cars,
Mhm.
especially with the holidays and stuff. But I would say overall, it's pretty nice over here. People are, they jog throughout the day, walking their dogs. Everyone's pretty nice that I've run into so far. So yeah, I think I'm really gonna love it here.
Yeah, that's good. I like that for you. Actually, I love that for you. Finding a nice, apartment, being able to make something a home. I feel like that is something that's kind of hard when you're on this like journey, transitioning, moving, just living life. It's really just so hard. So that's good that you kind of have like a smoother transition and that you are, um, working on being able to make it better for yourself. And yeah, so do you believe that you should move out your hometown to achieve your dream?
Now, I will say for my hometown, absolutely, because there's nothing there. There's nothing there. But there's so many people. I mean, that's a really good question. There's so many people that grow up in certain areas where it's growing, it's thriving, and so they are able to make a life and stay there. And if that's your caveat, then go for it. But if you feel that you really want to break beyond those walls of what you're used to and comfortable, you have to get used to being comfortable with being uncomfortable. If that makes sense. So break out those walls of where you're from, because it gives you that motivation to meet new people, try new things, and then it gives you a different perspective on life. I will say I come from a very closed-minded community because it's so small. People
Hmm.
a lot of different things, but when you have the opportunity to explore the world and see so many different things, it's like blows your mind, and it just makes you think like, man, I didn't know that. Like, there's so much more that the world has to offer. So go for it.
Yeah,
If
have
you
you been out the country before?
I have not, but I'm on
I,
my way.
I know I didn't think so. I'm like, I'm about to have to invite you to my birthday trip next year.
Oh,
Oh, yes, out the country.
per-
Damn. Okay, yeah, that just makes me think too, because it's like small, yeah, small town. I would say that even I feel like I was from a small town, got bigger dreams, but I don't know if I was really from a small town because I mean, I was from a small town, but I still feel like I was still so open minded. So I don't know, just the way that I was raised and how I lived, I feel like I was still very open minded. Like I'm not closed minded to things and stuff like that. So it all environment and everything factors in, you know, all
definitely.
that stuff. Oh, do you have plans already of where you want to go out the country to?
I don't know, but I'm on
Oh,
my about to just go ahead and get my passport. See what the Lord gonna do.
yes, get your passport so you can come meet to my birthday trip next year.
Okay.
Period. Okay.
I
That
need
is
somebody's beach.
yeah. Oh, well, I'm not going to the beach for my birthday, but I do get the beach.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to the beach for my birthday, but I'm going somewhere, so y'all stay tuned. I'll talk about it later on my podcast. It's called Bon Voyage podcast. Go check it out. It's the
Look
travel
on the
podcast.
other podcast, not on
Yes,
this.
on my yes on my other podcast where I talk about my travels. Yeah, go check out that podcast. No, if you're announcing anything, do you have anything to announce your business or anything like that? Are you trying to hold it? You want to wait till later?
TBD. Yeah.
Okay, TVD, yes. So my girl's about to be, becoming an entrepreneur, side hustle and stuff like
We
that.
see. Yeah, we gonna see.
Yeah, because there's a
Mhm.
lot of work out here, y'all. And that's another thing too with transition. It's like, okay, now, like me, that's why it took me so long to even get my podcast and stuff back up. Because like when I first moved, I was working 6 days a week. I didn't have time to create no content. So it's
Mhm.
like now I'm trying to get back into like what's the best time, like do I have time to even do it, Because like I'm working so much, I'm trying to get back on my feet, and Atlanta is expensive. I was working two jobs, working different hours, having to drive and everything like that. So it's kind of like you got to kind of figure out what best works for you. So it does take a while for you to like just sit, just let me relax, like let me just enjoy this time. Like let me not have to do this, boop, 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 bop, because it's like you got to kind of balance what you want to do,
Right.
so that's a lot too. But I'm excited to also see the new ventures that you're going to start. And I'm coming to Columbia because I need to put a new city on my list. Okay, my YouTube channel, period. So I
Well,
need you
you
to
I'm here, so go ahead and hit me up, sis.
yes, I need you to save me a spot when I come to visit
Yes.
Columbia. I'm trying to visit new cities next year because I actually am thinking about relocating again, but I got to figure out where I'm going to move to. So I
Louisville.
am. You said what?
Louisville.
I am not. I don't think I'm gonna move to Louisville, but my family's in Louisville and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But I don't know if I'm gonna move to Louisville because I back and I'm like it's not really good in media, and
I
that's something
thought
that I
you
want to do.
said it was good in other
It's
areas,
good
but
in
media.
entrepreneurship and it's good in community. But then I was like, I could go back and be the media girl in Louisville. You know what I'm
I
saying?
was about to say, set the standard, sis.
Yeah, but then I also thought like when I be looking at them jobs in Louisville, they don't be paying. So I'm like, "Ooh, child, I don't know. I can't, I can't be going back because they don't be paying that much in Louisville. That's really what's hard about it. They still, yeah, they paying low, and I have a whole master's degree and experience, and y'all ain't gonna catch me. And I feel like
Mm,
Louisville, it's not very, it's kind of creative, but it's not as creative. I do feel like it's like businesses and like people, like a lot of shopping and stuff. Like it's fun things to do. Oh, the nightlife is not as good. I'm not saying that I'm life, so I kind of see like the balance, but I don't want to kind of go back there also because I'm like all my friends are moving, so it's just like if I go, it won't be the same as like when I was in college, So I gotta kind of think like get out that mindset. Like there is a couple people there, but like you move, like a couple of my other friends move. I'm gonna have I can't be saying their names, but whatever. But yes, like people move, so I will still have to build a new community. Although
right.
like there is people who are there, I still feel like my college friends, like who I know, they're not all there anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there are a lot of people that have been moving lately, for sure.
Yeah, so it's like it won't be the same expectation or
Hmm.
be able to do what I want to do because I'm like, oh, my friends are going to be gone. Like, they're not going to be here, So I'm going to have to build a community again. Of course, I know the city is good. I won't have to get adjusted to the city because I know where things are at. But of course, I'm going to have to find an apartment if I don't want to live with my parents. So I have thought and thinking of like maybe I could go there because I do like the city. But I also haven't been there as like an adult, and now I'm like, well, there's a reason why people are moving out of Louisville. So what's the reason why people are moving out? So that's another thing that I gotta figure out as well. But yeah, so we're gonna stay tuned, um, you know, and figure out where I'm gonna move at. It could be out the country. So we'll just
Hmm.
have to see, But thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining
Thanks
this
for
episode and
thanks for having
sharing
me.
your relocation tips, advice, and just sharing your journey on relocating from Kentucky to South Carolina. Oh, you be seeing them. Let me not get canceled, but them Geechee people be down there.
The who?
It's like Geechee Island, Geechee, or something like that. Gullah Gullah Island, Geechee people, all them. That's in South Carolina.
Huh?
You didn't know that? Gullah
Yes.
Gullah Island? What?
Gullah Gullah Island.
Girl,
I mean,
you don't know nothing about that show?
I do know the show, but I don't know what you thought.
And
I,
there's Geechee people like Geechee descent and stuff like that. You didn't know that?
uh-uh. In
Oh,
Colombia? Or you're talking
oh
about like,
no, not Columbia. I was just talking about South Carolina in general.
oh, okay. I was gonna say, I don't know about Colombia. Maybe like
Yeah, like
Charles.
more stuff. I don't know where it's at, but yeah, I was talking about South Carolina, the state, not necessarily the city.
Mm.
hmm So yeah, but I want to let y'all know. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed this episode. But I wanted to let you know. Don't forget to get your free relocation expense tracker. The link will be in the description. Okay, and you can also book a consultation with me if you need help. Relocating or have any questions and stuff like that. I am doing relocation consulting,
Okay.
and okay, and you can get your expense tracker on the website for the podcast. So make sure you check that out. Share this episode with your friend, your cousin, and her neighbor, and anybody else in the family. Thank y'all so much for listening. Thank you so much for being on the episode, Sheridan. And
Thanks for
whenever
having
y'all listen
me.
to this, have a great night, have a great morning, have a great day, and you're welcome. Talk to y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.